Welcome to the Today Show. I'm your host, Jay Stoyan. On the show today, we have Toronto Mayor candidate Anthony Furey. Anthony, thanks for being on the show today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
This is very exciting. Our community's on fire. They got a lot of questions. Actually, well, it's a huge job, a huge responsibility running Toronto, one of the major 4 or 5 cities in North America. So we're really excited. Let's get started with Anthony. Anthony, tell us a little bit quickly about your history, where you're from, and we'll get right into it.
Oh yeah, thanks for the question, Jay. Thanks for the opportunity. I am from Toronto. I grew up here. Great city. I've lived in different parts of the city, and I had the great privilege of being a newspaper columnist for many years, a TV host and a radio show host, where I got in touch with people from all walks of life, all corners of the city, which is why my connection with people is what made me say, I want to pursue this opportunity. I want to run for the mayor's office because I just love this city so much, and I'm hearing people's concerns. When you work in the media, you hear from people about what they love about the city and also what their concerns are, and people have a number of concerns about the direction the city is headed in, and I hope I can be a part of the solution.
Well, that's a great take, because you said you do have experience in the media, and you know the media today is a lot different than it used to be.
Yeah.
So the media that we're used to, or the public likes, is a media that just tells people the news and lets us decide. So you came from that world. So where would you put yourself in today's world? Are you a little bit more liberal? Are you conservative? Are you independent? What are you, Anthony?
Yeah, great question. I'm pretty independent, and one of the nice things about a mayoral election is you're not having a party name attached to you, so you can go out and make connections with people of all different political backgrounds. I mean, I am someone who supports a low tax environment, public safety. I support making the streets cleaner, safer, supporting police officers and taking care of folks. So maybe you can say that's a bit more over to the conservative spectrum, but I'm still committed to representing everybody.
That's great. That's great to hear, because at the Disability Channel, obviously we're a very progressive platform, right? But we're all about community. We're all about taking care of one each other, and we're all about, looking out for the future. So there's a few topics I want to talk about. Could you tell us basically off the top of your head the 3 top policies that are very important to you?
All right, great question. When it comes to public safety, I think we need a more visible presence of security guards, police officers on places like public transit, on our streets, because there have been a lot of random attacks where people do feel vulnerable, and I think people need to feel safe to get out of their homes again. I know a lot of people were, of course, staying in for COVID for a couple years, and people want to feel safe heading on out there again. One thing that I've talked about is that I want to bring a lot more drug treatment to the city of Toronto, because unfortunately a lot of these attacks we're seeing, a lot of the violence we're seeing relates to the drug crisis, and unfortunately there are more people who are having challenges with their addiction issues. And I don't think we're going to open more of the injection sites. I think we'll open more treatment centers to help people reclaim their lives, and hopefully that'll make our streets safer as well.
Those are great answers, actually. So again, let's touch on a little bit, because I think obviously to do with crime and to do with, I guess, the homelessness, housing. How do you attack the housing? Because I just know, let's take for example, when I bought my first home in '92, okay, $180,000.
Totally different
out in
world back
Mississauga,
then.
brand new, garage and a half home, 1,800 square foot, and I think it was 189 loaded up,
Right.
like marble and wood floors. And today, that's $1.5 million home. How do you propose the first time homeowner or a person graduating from university has a good job, but so what would you do to sort of offset that?
Yeah, and Jay, you make a great point acknowledging the first-time buyer, because there are a lot of concerns right now. People say they can't imagine it, like baby boomers say they can't imagine their kids in their 20s or early 30s being able to afford a home in Toronto. I have said that as mayor, I am going to get rid of the land transfer tax for first-time home buyers, and that's going to drop the price of a home by about $25,000. And that's actually the only real lever the city has to directly deal with the price of houses. I also think we have a bit of a supply and demand issue, where there's just a lot of people coming to Toronto every year, because Toronto's a pretty awesome place. So people all around the world want to come and share in this experience here, which is great. But that ends up just upping the price of homes, because there's more people bidding for homes, and we just need more supply. We have a supply shortage, so the mayor's office can do a lot of things to encourage more growth, more building, creative ideas like commercial units that are now empty, office buildings that are empty because people work from home. You can flip some of those buildings into being residential units pretty quickly. You don't have to tear down a whole building, build up another new one. So I think all hands on deck for creative issues to respond to supply.
That's great. And that actually leads into, we're here with Anthony Furey. He's going for the candidate of the mayor of Toronto. He was kind enough to come into our studio today, downtown Toronto. We're just peppering him with, positive information, educational questions we want to know. What we want to know is, how would you take care of our community, the disabled and the veteran community? Because, the veterans are heroes.
Yes.
And I don't think they're getting the respect, the love, the support that they deserve. And then with persons with disabilities, I know, because we run the channel here, that we know that people are succumbing to a certain amount every month. And with inflation, and how do we survive, Anthony?
Yeah, it's a really great question, and I really feel for people who are in that situation, because these rates are set provincially, and then in some small towns, rents are a lot lower. In Toronto, rents are so high, and you're expected to make do with the same amount, whether you live in a small town or whether you live in big city Toronto. So in terms of support options, I think we got to talk about how we can support people from the communities that you're speaking of. And I got to tell you, one of the greatest things that has so far been happening as running for Mayor Jay is I go around and I meet with people from all backgrounds, all walks of life, and you really realize that there's so many amazing people in this city, and everybody matters. And everybody tells me everyone matters. So I hope that this is an opportunity for a coming together where we just acknowledge that we want to include everybody and respect everyone in how we think about the issues.
Well, I think that's a great vision. And let me just add that we have so many terrific graduates that are high-end in accessibility. And the reason I say that is because obviously we deal with the city, right? I deal with Toronto all the time. And their accessibility department, it's lacking disabled people, like to make decisions. Right. So you have able-bodied people writing up policy for accessibility. And I'll give you an example. Right here in my own building, our washroom, down the hall, they have the button. Yeah. Well, I had a gentleman in a wheelchair go to the washroom. He had to come and get me. Jay, I can't hit the button. It's too high up.
So they didn't consult with you in advance.
Not with me.
Making it, right?
Not
with the community. With the community. Yeah.
So can you make me this promise? If you get hired as the mayor or elected as the mayor, can we be your accessibility department? No, I'm just teasing.
Well, no, but I will say,
but
it's interesting, because that should have been a no-brainer to include the voices in advance in this. And there's a lot of ideas that I'm really passionate about because I've come up with these ideas, but also I think part of running for mayor is just to listen to everyone and include all voices. So part of what I can promise to you is, yeah, I think it's a no-brainer that if you're devising policies related to persons with disabilities, the first thing you do is get on the phone with those people or sit down with people and say, how can you make this better? How can you be a part of all of this?
So true. And there's a couple other questions I have, and I know we're running out of time now, but I just want to ask Anthony a few more questions. One is, what's your vision on working with the United States as the mayor of Toronto? How will you open the door? What will you do with the USA? It's sort of because they are our big brother.
Yeah.
Right?
No, that's a really good question, because one of the things is mayor of Toronto, Toronto is larger than some provinces in Canada, and so much of the trade, so many of the jobs that we have throughout Toronto, whether it's the manufacturing facilities or the service companies providing software or accounting, that relates back to U.S. customers. So treating yourself like a trade ambassador, where the mayor of Toronto is on the phone with the mayor of Chicago and the mayor of Manhattan and San Diego and saying, hey guys, how can we make a deal here? And how can we make sure that we've got a flow of goods, so anybody who's doing cool stuff in Toronto, they can sell that product to the US, and any cool stuff going on down there that will benefit us, we can access that. So really, all hands on deck, keeping lines of conversation. But I gotta say, no, I've done a lot of interviews. Nobody has asked that question, And that is a really good question.
Oh, I
And
got
it's
a
an
lot of
important issue.
I got a lot of questions, but we're running out of time. But before I let you go, Anthony, if people want to find out more information about you, where could they go?
Yeah, thank you so much. You can go to my website, furey.ca. That's FUREY.ca. And I'm out there on social media as well. And if you have any questions, want to get in touch, please feel free to email me at anthony@furey.ca.
And before I let you go, this is just a little bit of a personal question. If you do become mayor of the city, what wellness do you do to take care of yourself?
That is another great question that I've never been asked before. You gotta, if you can't take care of yourself, you can't help take care of others.
That's
and
right.
You can't help lead the city. So I do like doing exercise. I like going running when I can. I like going to the gym a couple times a week. And the older I get, the more I realize. When I was younger, I put a lot of junk food into my body.
Yeah.
Now the older I get, I realize it's not just the whatever weightlifting you're doing, you also got to worry about what you're putting into your body. So eating healthy and eating your greens and
That's great.
cooking and everything. So all of that.
Well, that's great, Anthony. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Jay.
Again, we had Anthony Furey. He's running for the mayor of Toronto. You're watching the Toronto Today Show. I'm Jay Stoyan. We'll be right back.
All about inclusion and really giving everyone a fair say.
Welcome to the Today Show. This is our flagship show. I am Unstoppable Tracy.
I am Zach Damon.
It is a pleasure to be here. I am excited. What is up?
We have a great show today.
Jay Stoyan here for the Disability Channel, the world's only inclusive channel for and by persons with disabilities.
Get ready to be inspired, everyone.
We have people watching from all over the world, but also all over Ontario.
We also take a concerted attention in the veterans community.
In moments of stress and trauma, we can get a hold of ourselves.
To help make a difference for people with disabilities, to show people how to love themselves or their disability.
I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys having me, giving this platform for myself and other people with disabilities.
Thank you so much, folks, for joining us for this episode of the Disability Channel of Detroit. Please tune in next time.
Welcome back. Wow, what a day today. We are having the mayor candidates of Toronto into the studio, finding out about their vision, their plan, what they have to do with accessibility, how they're going to take care of persons with disabilities and veterans in Toronto in general. So we really want to thank this opportunity because bringing on some high-profile individuals, who are getting the camera light, the spotlight in Toronto, it shines a spotlight on what we do. And what we do is provide opportunities. We provide opportunities to persons with disabilities and veterans through our employment programs, which are endorsed and financed through the Ontario government. So this is a great opportunity for our participants in our class, which are actually here today. So they're getting a hands-on feel of production, live television, and they're also learning the skill just like so they can replace or also move into position where our former graduates have. So they work for us or we outsource them to great companies that they work with. So it's wonderful. So I really want to thank everybody for participating today. It was a wonderful day. We'll see who's going to become mayor of Toronto. You never know. They did have some good policies, some good ideas, some good plans, good vision. So I think there's a lot of candidates out there. So we're still looking to connect with a few. If you want to come on our platform, showcase your plans, your policies, your views to our community, check us out, www.thedisabilitychannel.ca, or you could email personally me, myself, jay@thedisabilitychannel.ca. We would love to have you right here beside you. Come on in. Let's have a casual conversation. Let's see what your policies are for Toronto. Again, you're watching the Toronto Show, Today Show, Toronto Show. I'm Jay Stoyan. We'll see you next time.